Thought they were only dreams, you know. Why would anyone want the lost gods back? In those days, the favorite of a god could become immortal. She held herself and shivered. He wants to become an eater of souls. Well, I'm not afraid of dying. Just dying of boredom. Renato said, but she didn't laugh. Silence fell as they flew towards the ruins of the city of Ubar, where the rebellion leadership was hiding. If Zenobia couldn't help them fight off her father, no one could.
It's on Steam for like $15 right now. I'd definitely say it's worth it.
As they touched the ground, he could smell the ravens and hear their hungry caws in the distance. They're probably looking for me, she said. You go on ahead. She had that fiery look in her eyes that he'd always loved. It was a bit odd, though. How easy she'd been to convince. It was what he'd gambled on, but he'd expected more of an argument. She'd always loved to argue. She considered it the fastest way to the truth. Maybe she'd long suspected the truth. Sometimes all it took was taking the bandages from your eyes. That must be it, he told himself.
Ah, fuck, man.
Why hadn't the kid opened the Book of Destinies? At least he'd have known about that gobbler.
Man.
Why hadn't Hypatia opened it? Or... and this was kind of terrifying. What if they had? And what had happened had been the best future they could find. If Zenobia had really turned, the war could soon be over. She could send orders to the fleet that would leave their defenses wide open. The rebels could sail right in and capture the Emperor. Victory. Not too many casualties. They caught their breath under a ruined arch. It's beautiful, she said. This was the library of Ubar, he said. Your father's ravens thought they had an ancient book. She nodded. Was she crying? This was exactly what I wanted, Renata thought. To turn her to our cause. So, why do I feel something is terribly wrong? Because nothing ever goes this smoothly, is why. Renato hated gogglers, but it freaked him out to cut them.
Yeah, man, it's really awesome. It has a very nice twist on like branching storylines.
Long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
No problem, man. See you later.
council toads swarmed around Zenobia, shocked she was there, shocked she had changed sides. Then the walls exploded. He heard toads croaking, "Oh, the ravens!" Blackbirds were pouring through holes everywhere. "It's a trap!" cried the council speaker. In the confusion, he saw flashes of magic. Then Zenobia being hustled off by Imperial troops. So, she had betrayed him after all. Renato ran for his ship. The Farfarer flew into the clouds, barely losing the Imperial ravens pursuing him. The rebellion was lost, and he had lost it. There was nothing to do but find Zenobia and make her pay for her treachery. His heart ached. He still loved her. But he had trusted her, and he had been a fool. She would be back at the fleet, gloating with her mad, bloodthirsty father. For all Renato knew, she was helping him bring back the old lost gods back from their exile.
Da, 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 da.
Renato landed in the middle of the Imperial fleet. The rebels were losing badly. Without leadership, it was a slaughter. Renato felt strangely free, trying not to think about how he had lost the war, trying not to think about how he had loved Zenobia, blinded himself to her treachery. That's what it meant to be a hero. To keep on fighting after the most bitter of betrayals. To never know if you could trust anyone. Cats. What a waste of fur. What had happened to Lupino? Had the Mad Rabbit fled to safety? Or was he forlornly carrying on like the few rebels Renato could see here or there? Ugh, it didn't matter anymore. All there was slash and spin, parry and lunge, over and over as he fought his way across the fleet. All there was finding the girl he'd once loved, who had used his love against him and putting as big a hole in her heart as she'd left in his. Rushed. Oh. Heartbroken. No! Lupino's the traitor! Renato had an awful... So the Mad Rabbit had survived. Save me, or I'm done for! Screamed Lupino. Zenobia turned, showing her teeth in a smile. You're alive! Renato ran towards the witch. Lupino's the one who betrayed you! She shouted. He warned my father! Before he could think, Renato sank his sword into the sorceress. She stared at him, heartbroken. No! Lupino's the traitor! Renato had an awful, sinking feeling in his stomach.
You should know this already.
He felt a knife in his back. I'm afraid she's right, said the Mad Rabbit. Ain't I a stinker?
Oh!
Then the sun went out. Damn it. Oh, again? But he already had all the secrets he needed. He was sure of that. He must have not used them the right way. What was the best, worst mistake he could make? Probably trusting that traitor Lupino. The book's pages fluttered to the beginning once again.
7 endings
Faster
left.
than before, and he fell. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Renato knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong, but he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lupino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lupino had betrayed the rebellion, and he had a gut feeling that he needed to use that to his advantage. Renato finally realized that Lupino was a traitor to the cause, and maybe Renato could use that somehow.
Not just yet, buddy. We still have 7 endings to go.
Lupino. Apparently, the Mad Rabbit had sold a Pegasus that he did not exactly own. Lupino always wiggled out of trouble, given time. But he was out of time. Lupino's frantic message said that the Ravens were going to kill him for being a rebel spy, and that he had a clever plan. If the fleet reached him first, they'd string him up for that. Lupino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen a winged horse. He'd only sold it. But wait, where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the Ravens?
Hey, is that a word for a lot of ravens? Like a keepers of ravens?
People were frightened these days. Just 2 weeks past, Renato had sneaked through an empty town and listened to the Ravens call about the Emperor's new taste in ritual sacrifice. There was still no sign of Lupino. Not a hair, not a pellet. Was he hiding in the cemetery further down the road?
Yeah.
That didn't seem like him.
Okay, though, they are away from Ravens. I like dead bodies.